Coach AJ Snipes, he on Caneville, Career Talk. You know, we just here with my boy D Street, offensive coordinator at Miami Central, 9 state championships, and counting. We're just trying to make it better than we found it, brother.
And that man been on Bitcoin.
Welcome to South Florida. Yeah. Welcome to South Florida. Welcome to South Florida. Welcome to South Florida. The bottom of the clip of the gunshine state. One of them boys still blowing in that way. Big plate, get it for the 18 if you straight. Get cake and stop hating, it's the motto of the state. A lot of face, but it's still real around here. That foreign talk, that can get.
Alright, man, this D. I'm here. Crib Talk, Caneville, with Coach AJ, Miami Central. You got another ring, right, Coach?
Yeah, no, stuck one in on him.
You running out of fingers, dog?
Yeah.
How many is that?
That's 9 high school. I got 3 from Little League too, so.
So you got 9 state championships
Yeah,
in Florida?
yeah.
Listen, man, I was looking at a picture somebody sent me, and it was a picture of Woody Hayes, Bear Bryant, and then Coach Jake Gaither, who was a black guy. We know who Woody Hayes and Bear Bryant is. I mean,
FAMU.
yeah, they get some of the greatest college coaches ever. It's said across the TV over and over again. But in the picture, they were standing with a coach, Jake Gaither from FAMU, and he was a black guy. And they were at a coaching clinic. And it was at his coaching clinic.
Right.
They were there to learn what?
It was a split T offense.
Uh-huh.
He should be credited with inventing the split T offense. And everybody wanted to know, because at that time they had these 3 running backs they were bringing. They called them blood, sweat, and tears. Like they had, the run game was out of control. You couldn't stop that. You was gonna have a long night. So he came up with this split T offense. But what people don't give him credit for was he actually was the guy that introduced football to line splits.
Right.
Like when I say line splits, I mean people that play football, you would know like your offensive line, you either have a 1-foot split, a 1.5-foot split, a 2-foot split, some people foot to foot, but he actually created line splits. And everybody came to see how was he running the ball like that.
Right.
And they actually took it back to the NFL, and somehow or another it became Tom Landry's offense at the Dallas Cowboys, right. And he got credited for, introducing line splits to football, but it was actually Jay Gaither that did it.
Right. And that has happened in history numerous times where things were created by black people, not even just football. And because black people don't have a say, they didn't have the backing. It was taken by white establishments and made theirs.
Right.
And then the history was written as if it was theirs. And if you're watching this and you're like, hey man, why are you making everything black and white issue? Yeah, it's not a black and white issue. That's not what it is. What it is that nobody is there to say Jake Gaither over and over again on ESPN created blase blase. Nobody's there to say Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season in 15 years over and over again to make you even think that Mike Tomlin may be one of the greatest coaches in NFL today. So when you look at him, you don't think that because it's not getting said over and over again. Because the platforms aren't ran by people that look like him. My thing is, when history gets written, a lot of times we're written out of it. And I think what's going on today, right now, I think 9 state championships, AJ just said.
Right. If
this was any other city in Florida, 95th Street would be called AJ and Patty Wade, Rocket Lane. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
You have a statue in front of the school or something like Vince Carter got it Daytona.
The street would be painted green.
Right.
Like something would have happened by now. 9 state championship. You know how I know? Because when I travel around Florida and cover football, those guys want to win.
Yeah.
They want to win. And they get respect in their city for being the district champs, the conference champs. They be like, street man. I be like, y'all had a good team last year. They say, hell yeah, man. We went undefeated. We kicked everybody's ass. I be like, yeah. I be like, how far y'all went? We got to the conference, man. Somebody from down south knocked us out. So y'all didn't get the state because we're so used to hearing it down here. Nah, like we don't never get the state. Like we just beat everybody around here. Bro, listen. What you guys doing? I'm here to say, man, y'all just take your flowers now. What y'all doing? What Northwestern did? Just get your flowers now. But also, some respect has to start being given. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And when it comes to how can you be such great high school coaches and it's not converting and y'all not just flowing to the college ranks?
You know, I've been pondering on that question for the longest because I'm at this stage. It's kind of like I'm looking at the Texas Tech head coach. He's been removed from high school for 4 years, and he's the head coach at Texas Tech. We're not talking about he didn't go to small school, West Texas or anything. He went to Texas Tech, and he's the head coach at Texas Tech. And then you start wondering, well, why guys in the state of Florida, we're not even getting an interview?
Right.
You know, it's kind of asinine right now, and it's starting. I think we're starting to get numb to it. Like it's getting to the point where it's like, okay, you gotta respect the brand a little bit, because you can't. Anywhere you go, they say, okay, which state has the best football, and Florida is mentioned.
Right.
It's mentioned with California. It's mentioned with Louisiana. It's mentioned with, you know what I mean? It's mentioned. The state of Florida is mentioned. And the thing about it, in those places, those states or whatever, those guys actually get opportunity. That's why I said, I told the other day, I said, I respect Texas and what they do. Because their high school coaches demand certain things.
Right.
Like, they're like, okay, you're going to take somebody. If you don't, then you can't come back in Texas. And it's kind of crazy because you would think, oh, they high school coaches, they ain't got that kind of power. Well, they got Charlie Strong out of there.
Yeah.
He couldn't recruit the state of Texas because the high school coaches was like, no.
Wow.
You hire everybody on your staff and you ain't take nobody from Texas.
And they stood up against.
And they stood up. And it's kind of crazy. Like, it shouldn't get to that point. Like, nowhere should it get to that point because you have to respect, you got to respect the high school coaches at some point to me. Like,
right.
you have to respect the fact that what they're doing with the limited amount of resources. You know? And if you can't tell me nobody in the state of Florida is good enough to even get an interview at none of the Power 5 schools, like, how? How is that possible? How is that possible?
I mean, okay, so the state of Texas and football, I think they take more pride in football as a state.
As a state, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They shut down the whole state.
Right. And I'm talking about from every level. You notice the first youth football on TV was Friday Night Tykes. That was Texas.
Yeah.
They take more pride. We love the game here, and we die for it.
Right.
But as a whole, the girls respect it. The businesses respect football. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Football, when you play football, it's looked at different in Texas. It's a different type of. It's
a way of life in Texas.
Yeah, it's a way of life in Texas.
It's a way of life in Texas.
Right. There would have a soccer stadium would have never got what that soccer stadium just got before a football stadium in Texas.
Not in Texas.
Right, things like that. So you're saying that. So to get hired as a college coach, right? Mm-hmm. How does it work? Do you go apply or do?
I mean, basically, it's relationships. It's who you know. Mm-hmm. But guys in the state of Florida would never really build those relationships because we're not getting paid $70,000 to coach. Like in Texas, coaches get paid to coach.
Yeah.
We're coaching for a stipend.
Football is your job.
Yeah, so we have other jobs.
Right.
Like, for example, for me, I'm not in the building. So when college coaches come through in the middle of the day,
even there.
I'm not there.
Right.
And then when they do come in the afternoon to practice, I'm at a school where I'm expected to win. I don't have time to sit over here and shoot the boo-boo with,
Right.
College coach because I got to make sure all the installs in I gotta, like, my film sessions are literally like Zoom meetings. Like, everybody else just started using Zoom, I've been using it.
Right.
Because I'm an IT guy. So when the pandemic hit and the world evolved to Zoom, I was like, oh, okay, I'm ahead of the game.
You hear now?
My kids was already, that's how we were meeting.
Through Zoom?
Yeah, it was like, we would use Huddle and I would literally be like, hey man, my quarterbacks would get tested from what they did on Huddle and we chalk it up from there.
Yeah.
Because I'm not there to have a offensive meeting at 2:00.
Right.
I don't get to practice after 4. We start practicing at 3:40. Our kids go to study hall from 2:30 to 3:45.
Right.
So you're talking about building a relationship. How you gonna do that in the state of Florida? That's why I said college coaches have to at least interview guys to at least figure out what their football IQ is. Because in the state of Florida, you gotta remember now, you talking about, like I told somebody the other day, I said, it ain't the logo on the shirt that's recruiting the kids, it's the guy that's wearing the polo. Because if Nick Saban left Alabama and put on another polo, his pickup line gonna be, you know, I'm that guy that did all that at Alabama, right?
Right.
And the kids gonna go play for him. It don't matter.
Right.
It don't matter. He could have been at Beacon Hill. It don't matter.
Right.
He still is Nick Saban, and as long as he's doing it in collegiate level, they gonna respect that.
Right.
It's just like high school. You know, you don't have to. At Miami Central, we don't have, everybody like, oh, Central recruit all the kids. We don't have to recruit.
How does it go? How does it work? What?
You want to play running back. You gonna go to a school that run the ball, right? You gonna say, they run the ball. I'm going over there. I need to be in that program.
And their parents they bring them.
Yeah, like
Right.
yeah, I'm not gonna tell you. You show up to my house unannounced, naked on my doorstep. I'm gonna tell you go home. Hey, man, I gotta see what that's about.
People want to be a part of winning. People know that, man. You win, people want to come be a part of it.
But that's the thing, though, and it's kind of like I tell people all the time. Nick Saban is coming in here and he's taking his receiver corps. Let's just go. Let's look at it for the last 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Ridley, Cooper, Judy.
A couple he sent back home.
Yeah, the whole secondary.
Ja'Cory Brooks.
Ja'Cory Brooks right now.
Mm-hmm.
The whole secondary.
The whole secondary.
Battle, Surtain, all that.
We missing a wide receiver, ain't we? Cooper, Judy, Ridley,
Cassie.
Daniel Jones, Bell.
You think like are you trying to tell me like you got to look at it like South Florida, we putting product out there.
Yeah.
The product there. And you trying to tell me like nobody gets a job? Like you don't get an interview?
Right. Like it's in the water or something.
Yeah, like I tell people all the time, I'm like, listen, man. And I think that's why a lot of the South Florida programs right now, you look at it, is falling off.
Right.
Because they're not getting the top tier talent out of South Florida. But then they have nobody on their staff that has ties to be able to do it.
Miami got a couple of freshmen in this year that came in and they threw them on the field and they was ready to play.
I told you that though. I said that freshman class gonna be a problem. If they play that freshman class, it's a problem.
Right.
I told you that.
Right.
But then here's the thing: they got one guy that's able to recruit. DVD was able to recruit here.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to recruit here.
Well, T-Rob.
Yeah, T-Rob. They was able to recruit here.
Where does Fields recruit? Out of town somewhere or something?
Fields recruit here a little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah, but the thing about it is, if you get that crop of kids, the right crop of kids, the kids gonna recruit for you.
Right.
Cause that group that they brought in last year is recruiting everybody else that's in the transfer portal. They can help them right now.
Right.
They like, bro, come back home, play with us.
I asked Manny in the press conference, I said because they were getting credit that the freshman was ready to play. And I know what's about to happen next. The credit will go to. I said, how much credit would you give to the high school coaches that got them ready to play? And he said I give them all the credit, even in youth football. And he gave y'all your flowers. He was just like, they do more with less around here.
That's the thing. So you trying to tell us like we can't get an interview? An interview? Forget the job. Respect us enough to interview us.
So the question is, are you more valuable to them on their staff or in high school sending them the kids?
I told you this on the last. I had a college coach tell me, you're more valuable to me in high school than you are if I put you on my staff. Because if I bring you here, then where am I gonna get the product from?
Right.
Because ultimately it's about the product. But what they don't get is, the invaluable part is, if I'm on your staff, you're gonna get the product, you're gonna get it earlier.
Explain.
Because guess what? The same kids that are coming to me from high school, that's coming off the Little League Pop Warner team, when I'm getting that phone call saying, hey man, this dude at the Pop Warner level is killing it. You need to check him out, coach. I think he can help y'all at Central. I'm gonna get that same call in college.
Right.
So guess who gonna have tabs on this kid coming in as a ninth grader?
Right. You get the information earlier.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we all know when you get the information first, most of the time those guys that made the money, when every time everybody else figure it out, they get in the back end. The real money
Right.
is the person that they get there first. The people that bought Apple stock first,
Yeah.
they made the real money.
Right.
The people that bought Bitcoin first, they made the real money.
Everybody else waiting.
Everybody else, they get in the back end. They getting the crumbs off the table.
They wait.
They get the crumbs off the table.
Right.
So you gotta be smart about it. That's the invaluable part that you gonna get by getting the guy that's got the community.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we're not just talking about a Dade County connection. You talking about, I done had kids come back from Georgia to Dade County, move back home to play. Like, coach, I'll come back and play for you. Okay, come on. Kid living in Georgia, came back.
Yeah.
Family moved back. Oh, we coming back. Okay, hey, y'all know where I'm at. You show up, I'm here. If I had on a college shirt, you don't think I'm gonna get that same phone call?
Of course.
Hey, coach, man, I know we ain't in Florida no more, but check me out. I'm up here in South Georgia and I'm doing my thing. Okay, cool. Now you go put on his film and you watching him, and you know him before everybody else. Like, this a guy that killed it in Little League, and now he a freshman somewhere in South Georgia, and you looking at that tape and you like, yeah, I need a bag of that. Now you looking at it early, as opposed to finding out after he done became a 5-star. Now
Right.
you compete with everybody.
Right. The high school coaches that you've seen go from high school to college, like big time college, how did they get there? Like, what made the colleges say, hey man, this guy might convert over?
Just somebody took a chance on him.
But what were they doing in high school?
Like, really, the only couple coaches I know that has really made it out of South Florida. I mean, that
Not out of South Florida, anywhere.
Okay.
The ones that's been successful, like anywhere. The ones you've seen go, like with Texas Tech guy. How did he get there?
It's different in Texas. It's different there. They gonna demand it.
Yeah.
You gotta take somebody.
Why him though? He was winning us.
He was winning. And you gotta think what they do in Texas is almost like that. Like, it's almost like a conveyor belt. I'm gonna take this guy. I'm gonna promote him to collegiate. The next guy step up and from his whatever and becomes the high school coach. Now, this guy's in the collegiate. He now creates room to go back and get another guy
Right.
from high school.
Yes.
Whether it's the guy off his staff or another guy in Texas. But you gotta think, you trying to tell me like, if that Texas Tech coach he got a job and now he's able to go get say a coach from Katy and put him on his staff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, then he gonna get them kids from Katy?
Right.
So
it's just beneficial to have one of yours there.
It's gonna benefit
Right.
the university. Because that coach that's at Katy has all his other coaches that he gave jobs to, whether they still at Katy or they at Skyline, wherever they are, they gonna have some loyalty to him, and they're going to call him and say, "Hey, I know I left Katy, but I got a guy over here, coach, that could help you at the next level," because they need to make sure he's successful.
Right.
It's like right now. You think when Telly's at Marshall, you don't think I'm feeding him the information on, hey, yo, well, this gonna be next guy up.
Right.
Y'all need to look at him.
Right.
Because my connection to him is completely different
And you trust him.
than somebody else, right?
Yeah.
And I know if you get there and you mess up, it ain't that he sent you home because he couldn't deal with you. You couldn't adapt to where you were.
Right.
Because he knows how to deal with a South Florida kid.
Right.
So it's different. And then you look at it, like I said, those ties is bigger than just Dade County, because when he was at USF, he recruited the kid Marlon Mack. Marlon Mack dad played with us at Miami Beach Optimus. We ain't seen Marlon in 15, 20 years. They live in Central Florida. But as soon as his son got to high school, the first thing he did, hey, let me call my homeboy, he at USF.
Right.
Hey man, I'm gonna check my son out. This kid fly under the radar, go to USF, run like a wild horse, and gets drafted by the Indianapolis Colts.
Right.
That had nothing to do with USF. Don't have Teddy Lockett, they don't get Marlon Mack.
Right.
9 times out of 10, he don't show up there.
I mean, I guess what Texas has created was, because sometimes you have to take what you want. Like you said, it shouldn't have to come to y'all creating. Yeah, but nobody don't give you nothing, man. I mean, one thing I've learned, bro, they're not coming to save us. They're not gonna give. They're not giving nothing, fool.
I don't even want them to save us. I just want them to respect it. Like, okay, a prime example, right? You got your show here. There is no reason why, I mean, you doing the FOOTBALLVILLE, the Caneville, there's no reason why University of Miami is not calling you saying, hey, be a part of our recruitment, be a part of the brand, be a part of this. Because at some point they gotta realize you ain't missed yet.
Right.
Let's just keep it 100.
Right.
Everything you pretty much, the content that you put out there, there's some truth in it.
Yeah.
You'll tell them, hey, this kid gonna be a sensation, a phenom, blah, blah, blah.
Did it happen?
Not a kid, a 5-star. And everybody like, whoa, either you a prophet,
Right.
or they gotta sit there and say, who is that guy? And where is he getting information from? And how is he plugged into the city?
Right.
You gotta, at some point, if we really want to be great at what you do, you gotta, it's enough room at the table for everybody.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. I think people value black things different. That's how I look at it. I think they value them different. And sometimes you have to push. You got to push harder, bro. You got to be exceptional when you got a 10. you got to be exceptional at what you do when you got a 10.
I'm coming right. That's what I tell you, man. If you call me, I'm coming. Because my thing is, I don't want to be that dude that say, once you blow up, hey, Street, man, when you gonna get me on the show? After you done blew up. That's crazy.
Right.
When you become bigger than life, now I want to be, man, put me down, put me on the show. But when you called me, when you was starting out and you getting everything going, I'm like, man, I ain't going on there.
He ain't ESPN. He ain't even Fox.
I'm gonna go in there and tell my story. He ain't on ESPN level right now.
Right.
But you got a platform. You got a platform. And there's a platform for us to be able to express how we feel.
And I think that's what people don't realize.
Yeah.
They don't realize that the reason you believe the things you believe is because the TV say it over and over again.
Over and over again.
And we never ran the TV, we never ran radio.
It's ear hustle.
Right. So a lot of times things have been taken out of history because there's nobody that looks like us that's saying it over and over again on TV.
And the story gets changed.
It gets changed a lot of times too.
I mean, look how many times the Bible been rewritten. It gets changed. People take the part out they don't want.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, you know, it is what it is.
It is.
It's the truth.
It is.
It's the truth.
They don't want to. Some people think they don't want to hear that. Some people think God took a pen and wrote the Bible.
It's the truth, though. Like, you can't deny facts.
Right.
You can't deny it.
Unless you just don't want to see it.
Unless you just don't want to see it.
Yeah.
At some point, you got to say, hey, man, Mike Thomas never had a losing season.
Right. And you got to say it over and over again, like you say, all these up-and-coming coaches are the next. What's the guy at the Rams? McVay, and they the next guy. The next guy? Why are we not talking about
the guy that's here?
The one that just 15 years in a row.
He's doing it right now. We act like that don't matter.
They never, you never get it. You never hear it that way. You never hear anybody say Mike Tomlin, top of the coaching. Like you don't hear. I don't know. Like maybe I don't watch TV enough. You don't hear it when you look at him. You don't think that. Man, it may be Belichick. Damn. You don't think that.
No.
You don't even think he's in the room.
You think he ain't significant. Till somebody says, you know he ain't never had a losing season, right?
Right.
And you like, what? And you start looking at it like, yeah, you're right. How you do that in NFL?
At a program, at an establishment that don't fire their coaches. So he been there forever.
Right.
Yeah. It ain't like it's been 4 years.
Yeah, like 15 years.
Right.
You know how hard that is? 15. Belichick has had a losing season.
Watch how fast it come crumbling down. Watch how fast they go after his head. You start losing.
Yeah, and that's the sad part about it, though.
Right.
That's the sad part about it. We not gonna respect what he's accomplished. It's kind of like the whole Jay Gator thing. Nobody never said why were all these Bear Bryant went to. Remember, at one point, black players couldn't play at Alabama.
I think that makes sense. At one point, black players couldn't play at Alabama.
Alabama, Notre Dame, you couldn't play that.
But the coaches was going to talk to a black guy.
Going to talk to a black guy.
Right.
They getting their information from the people that you say we don't want here. And bringing it back and teaching it. Guess what we doing? We about to rewrite this.
Right.
Nobody's going to ever know that little black guy that was at Tallahassee FAMU came up with this ingenious stuff because he ain't on a big enough platform for people to even hear that he did it.
Yeah.
But then I do it at Alabama.
That's
I got
what
the
it is.
media,
See,
I got
it's the
everybody.
platform, right? It's not like they're saying. I'm sure if you were to sit them down as men and ask them, they'll say, "Man, we got that from them." But it's not like the media is going to crown them.
No.
And the media screams like, you don't think so?
No, man.
Damn, you just think it's a whole. So you think
it's been rewritten.
They just won't mention it.
It's been rewritten. Tom Landry came up with this. Tom Landry put these line splits in.
It's happened a few times. With George too, that was a running shoot. George, and he didn't create that.
Yeah, but
the San Francisco coach,
by the time they get to the media,
right,
who get the credit for doing
They
it?
get the credit in the media, right? I just would think that as men, you would ask them, they would say, "Hey, man, we learned this." But once the media crown them, doesn't usually even say it.
There's nothing to say no more.
Right.
I didn't say I did it. The media said I did it. So I'm not gonna rebuttal that.
Right.
I'm not gonna rebuttal that in public.
Well, I guess if you have some balls, you would.
You would.
You got some integrity.
They already crowned me.
You got some integrity, you would.
They crowned me king. Why would I do it?
All right, man. The D Street, man. Here with Coach AJ, the legend, man. 9 state championship. That's about all you could call him at this point. A legend. We out of here, man. Y'all make sure y'all like, share, comment. I'm D, Coach AJ. We out.
Go!